everybody. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Celebrity Talk Show Series. Jim Masters here reporting for duty, and special guest, stand-up comedian by night and renowned dentist in New York City by day. Mike King is in the house. Well, his house. And he's going to join us. I asked him, being a dentist by day, did he brush his teeth 3 times a day after meals and a little bit in between snacking? He's going to be joining us live. He's got a fabulous new book out. In addition to being a dentist and a renowned stand-up comedian, he's also a brilliant author, and he has penned this fabulous book, Dad Spelled Backwards. We're going to talk about that and so much more. Thanks for joining us. Hope you guys are doing well. We're coming at you live here from Loverty Hall, Jameis Loverty Hall. See a lot of comments coming in. We appreciate them. Keep the comments, likes, subscribing, all that cool stuff coming our way. It allows us to continue to grow and bring all this great content, all these fabulous celebrity friends and guests your way here on the Jim Masters Show. We're going to dive right in with Mike King. Tell you a little bit. I hope everybody brushed their teeth. Did you brush your teeth? Because the only way you can watch this episode is if you brushed your teeth and you gargled. I did 3 times already today, and just before the show on purpose, just in case Mike said open up and I want to take a look. He's a dentist by day, stand-up comic by night, living large in the New York single scene in the city. And then he met the love of his life, Gabriella, a French, younger, beautiful, strong, and independent woman. Marriage and the perfect life followed. And then Gaby introduced the concept of wanting a child. But life was already perfect, and here we go. This is where the story of Dad Spelled Backwards begins. It's a beautiful, hilarious, and very real story, a ride of unconditional love and laughter that was taken, and you're going to love it when you get the book. I know you guys are very, very sort of proactive. When we have authors and others, people that have music, people that have books, you guys dive right in. You go right to Amazon and other places to scoop it up, and by all means do it. It's really, really terrific. Odds are slim that the son of a Denver, Colorado strip club owner who currently has a thriving dental practice in New York is a well-known working stand-up comic would write a heart-stopping and clever, wonderful book about the journey to have a child of his own. Mike King did just that with the book, Dad Spelled Backwards. The pages of Dad are filled with wit and love, wisdom, honesty, and a determination that wavers at times and makes us laugh and really pause to ponder. Now, Mike's singular point of view is really relatable to anyone. It's a real page turner, the book, and it leaves us with all the facts and real information about really the kind of thing that, when you think about and you take time to think about the things that really matter in life, this book will cause you to pause to do that. So it's something, again, that you should add to your own reading library, sort of the Jim Masters Show book club. And we're going to welcome him. And now, look, how could you not laugh when you see that? We used that in our promo graphic. There he is there as well. But we used it in our promo graphic. And I think it's really cool. So without any more chatter, we're going to welcome him to the show live and direct from Midtown, New York City, where very soon that big tree is going to be erected in Rockefeller Plaza in New York. Let's welcome him to the show. Mike King joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
The pleasure is mine. I realized that Larry King and Alan King were unavailable for obvious reasons. So it's great to have Mike. No relation to either.
No relation. Just Sid King, and he couldn't be here either. But looking at that first shot with the teeth, I should update my headshot every 20 years because
you look the same. You look exactly. I don't know about the teeth, but I mean,
those glasses. I don't know where those are now. But
oh, they're right there.
And why is that a real genie lamp back there, or is it?
That is the real I Dream a Genie bottle. Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Yes.
That's great.
And I haven't posted anything about it yet, so I might as well now. Last weekend, I was with the one and only Barbara Eden.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, chatting with her and met her. And she's amazing. Yeah, she's absolutely amazing. It was a pleasure meeting her. But I've had this before. dear friend of mine, always knew I wanted to get the bottle, always enjoyed, I work in television, so love the TV series. And all of a sudden, for one of the birthdays a few years back, this was the gift. And it's the real thing. It's heavy. It's like,
So it's from the show? It's from
yeah,
the action?
it's the actual, let me see if I can bring it over here.
Have you rubbed it a few times?
Yes, there it is. Isn't that
Wow.
beautiful?
Really
Yeah.
nice.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
So, and we've actually incorporated that. If you saw the show open, it's sort of incorporated in our opening where they're doing the animation and then the Gym Masters show pops out of the bottle type thing. But she was amazing. Barbara Eden's fabulous.
Oh, yeah, she is.
Absolutely
That
fabulous.
was an iconic show. I remember
Yes, absolutely. How did you get into comedy? I mean, dentist by day and comedian by night. How did that all happen?
I think it probably originates again from my dad, Sid, because he was in show business. He was the MC of his burlesque house, if you want to use the more acceptable word, but strip joint, I like to say, just to get down to the basics. And he was the MC and host, and he did a shtick, and he made jokes, and he laughed, and I guess going there at a young age sort of got me, he applause, laughter, maybe always wanted to do stand-up. But another part of my family were professionals, were doctors and psychologists and eye doctors and things like that. So I guess I kind of was walking a rope between the two, and I always wanted to do stand-up, but didn't have really the wherewithal to do it until I got my dental degree. And then I said, I always wanted to do that. And I tried it at Catch a Rising Star in New York City. It was the #1 club at the time. I don't know if you remember that, Jim, but
sure. Yeah.
and it was the club to go. And through my dental contacts, I met an agent, knew an agent, and she got me right in. And I didn't have to do auditions. I didn't have to. I just, again, as you said, I just had to brush my teeth and floss, and I was in. And I became a regular there for years, and then started doing the circuit. And there was a couple of years where I made more in the entertainment business than I did in stand-up. I mean, in dentistry.
More than dentistry, really?
Yeah, there were 2 years when I sold one or two. I sold a screenplay and was doing a lot of weekend gigs.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and I would say for the golden age of stand-up, I think for myself was in the 80s. And that's when every weekend you had a gig. You had 2 Friday, 2 Saturday. And it went on that way for years until it didn't.
Now, did the family always tell you when you were a kid you were inherently funny, or is that something you developed over time?
I think,
a lot of people are born with a certain take on life and humor, and then it just blossoms as we go along.
I think you in our family, you needed a sense of humor. I mean, when you're dealing with a dad who owned a strip club and the way people related to that, I think, and we were Jewish and a strip club owner. And my mom came from
still are, aren't you?
Right. Yeah, I still am. I haven't. My mom was from an Orthodox family. So put all that together, and you need a sense of humor just to tell somebody that you have to have a sense of humor. And so, yeah, it gradually developed. But when I moved to New York City, that's when I started doing stand-up. But yeah, I was a funny kid. I think being a little height deficient adds to humor. There are tall comics, but maybe that had something to do with it. My dad was only 5'2.5". I think he should, I was at the time I was just about 5'7". I was the tallest. They used to call me Stretch.
Who was your dad, Mickey Rooney? Or?
Yeah, right. Yeah. He was, and my mom was 5'1". My sister is 5'1". So the fact that I get to be 5'7" was a miracle. I don't know how it happened.
How that happened, right? Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe the milkman was 5'7", as the old joke was.
So when you told the family you're going to go into comedy, what was the response?
Well, since I was always a dentist, it was kind of, all right, you did the dental degree, so it's okay. I think if I did it prior, it would have been a little difficult, but I think they would have been supportive. Um, but at one time, I thought of going in my dad's business, not the strip joint, but he was doing real estate at the time. And he owned the building, where his club was, which is very historic. You know, it was a famous building. I think Wild Bill, or some of these historic Colorado cowboys, occupied the place. So I decided not to. At the time, I decided, well, I'll go to dental school. And then when I moved to New York City, after dentistry, I was practicing, and I really didn't like working on adults. I was working in a public health facility in Denver, and really, adults were always complaining this wasn't right. But I enjoyed working on children because you could be much more relaxed, have more fun, be more animated. And I decided to specialize. And then I moved to New York City, and there I took a residency program at a hospital that's taught you pediatric dentistry. And that's when I started going to the comedy clubs.
That's fantastic. Now, were you going initially as a patron, or were you getting ready to perform and hitting the stage?
I went to a couple shows, and then they had audition night, and my friend, her name was Marcy, got me in, and I auditioned. I don't even know if I really passed. I guess just hanging out there, I became a regular. I don't remember specifically a day they said you passed the club. I think it was when they gave me food. I knew I passed, because mostly at that time, you had Richard Belzer, Bill Maher, so many, Larry David, Jerry Seinfeld was there, Paul Reiser. So everybody was kind of hanging out there, and I was the resident dentist. And one night they said, "What do you want for the menu?" And I knew I was in, because once you ordered a hamburger or they give you food,
yeah,
you knew you were part of the establishment. And so I was there probably 5 nights a week for several years, waiting. I wouldn't get the prime spot, believe me. I would get on, Richard Belzer or somebody would go on and at 12 at night, and you were waiting to go on, and you get bumped, and then you'd have to, sometimes you go on at 2 a.m. But at that time, the comedy shows went really late. It was a place to be, because it was before all the TV saturated it. So you'd go on at 1 or 2 a.m, and there was still an audience. It wasn't a big audience, but following some of these guys like Belzer or whoever, it was really difficult, and sometimes you wouldn't do very well.
Yeah,
but right. enough laughs where okay, you could still continue.
Exactly. How do you describe your style of humor? Everybody has, their own style, their own take on things. Is it more observational about life? How do you describe it, Mike?
Well, at first I kind of was a prop comic, and that was kind of frowned upon, because, there was a guy named Lenny Schultz. He's still around, living in Florida. I don't know if you heard of him, but he was before the Wid and some of those other guys, and he would bring up tons of props. And for him, it was great. I would bring up a little suitcase with a few props. A couple of them were the mainstays of my act, but for some reason it was considered, you had this help in doing stand-up. So I went to Props Anonymous, which was, to try to do stand-up without props. And I finally went up there. And so I gave up the props, and I was talking a lot about dentistry, being a dentist. I was known as the fifth dentist. Remember those Colgate commercials? 4 out of 5.
4 to 5 dentists recommend this toothpaste. Yeah.
It was the one that didn't care, that said, eat the crap, the gummy bears, all that. It was me. I was the fifth dentist. So that was kind of when I went into the dental bit. And then I got married late in life, and that became my mainstay in comedy, just talking about relationships, because we all can relate to that. And a relatable comedy is what works for me, rather than being so much, I guess you're sort of a character, but it talking about life and my wife, and happy wife, happy life, that unhappy wife, hide the knife, that kind of thing.
Right. Take my wife, please.
Yeah. Right.
So, what inspires you to prepare material that relates to people? You're just watching the craziness of life, and you probably get a lot of, I mean, just walking down a street anywhere, you probably get a lot of things that you can use in an act just by watching people and the craziness that goes on.
I mean, probably 3 times a day, I say to somebody I'm with, what did I say a minute ago? What was that bit? Because a lot, you have to, I sleep with a pen and a piece of paper by my bed. And, if I'm with somebody, because you can't write it down every minute, but you think that's the best bit of your life. You can't remember that. If I knew that bit, if I didn't forget it, I'd be on Colbert with that bit. But so you try to, it's just what happens every day. When you go into, you go into, I don't know where you are the CVS's and Walgreens, is everything locked
Yeah.
up?
Oh, the CVS. I mean,
I
the
mean, remember the old days?
well, definitely the razor
Yeah,
blades are
yes.
locked up, but they've
But
been locked
when
up
I
for
was a
years.
kid, it was and this is recently, it was just can you say condoms on this, or is that, you have to bleep that?
No, you can't. So, right. Yeah, sure. Whatever,
That,
you
that's,
know,
that's a, I'm a sort of a,
straight
doctor.
shooter.
Yeah. But you couldn't, but that's what you'd have to go. And
Yeah.
nowadays, can you give me some of that deodorant?
Right. And that's
Yeah,
code for,
yeah. Can you please unlock it? But
right.
it's ridiculous, because in New
The
York City,
antiperspirant protection.
it's crazy here, because I heard that I don't know how they know, if they counted, unless you're with like nearly $1,000 worth of merchandise walking out of there, they won't even call the cops or prosecute you. It's crazy. I don't know how they get
That's
away with
quite a
it.
thing, right?
It-
And
It's
that's why a lot
it's
of these stores are
really
getting hit everywhere
it's
is,
terrible. It's
yeah,
terrible. I don't
taking
know.
$999 worth of
Yeah,
stuff,
right.
right?
Yeah.
It's
In
crazy.
other countries, they deal with it very harshly. Here, I think we need something to discourage people thinking that they can do that. There's something wrong with the system.
I think a guillotine would be great.
A guillotine, well, or just
Right at the exit, like if you're
removing
leaving
just
the
this
store with
little,
the
yeah,
stuff.
removing just this little, just a top, little teeny bit of the pinky. And as you get more and more, then I don't know the solution. Yeah, you can't be barbaric, but at the same time, why should these people, and I talk to people in stores, because we have a 24-hour supermarket near us, and he said they'll come in sometimes, unless you're really, they've been macing some of these people, because they constantly come back. They do their shopping and they walk out, and they're afraid to stop them, and sometimes they become violent. So it is a problem.
That
But
sounds like a slogan.
right,
Maced at Macy's.
right, you know, sh
It is a little crazy, and everything we've been through how's everything we've been through the last couple of years affected your comedy or your take on life? Have you incorporated any of it into your comedy?
well, I think the comedy clubs. I work at Broadway Comedy Club mostly, on
Yeah.
53rd Street and 8th. Um, and not that I'm plugging the place, but I think the audiences really want to laugh, because they're looking for a release. So I think it's even more important. Um, so I don't, you could talk about a lot that's going on. I mean, the comics always say too soon. Obviously, certain things you can't talk about because it is too soon. But I think you need that release. And as far as talking about subjects, I don't do that much political. Um, I find first, it's a tough bits to do, because how long can you do them? Can you? People are probably still doing bits. Some people don't write it, and some acts you see 20 years later, they're using the same bits. But that would be hard to do politically, because the things change so often. So I tend to stick to mostly marriage stuff, and just day-to-day living, just the day-to-day conflicts that we have in our life, that every day we go through stuff like, taking cabs here can be a hassle. That the guys, they'll drive over 4 lanes to get to you, almost hitting 2 passengers and 2 other cabs. Things like that you can talk about. Not that it's funny, but you can talk about it.
How has the changes in just general thinking changed your style of comedy? I know a lot of comedians have had to sort of rework their material.
Right. Yes, I think audiences are a lot less forgiving. I'm finding that certain clubs attract certain people. There's more of a hip clubs that get a hip New York crowd, and there's more clubs that get more of a generic across the United States kind of crowd. So with more of the hip audiences, I'm not sure if maybe you can be a little more edgy. If you're certain comics can get away with it, like Bill Burr, who I think is a wonderful comic. He has that edge, but you like him enough where you forgive him and you understand that he's a comedian. So if they don't know you and they don't know you as a comic, they're going to be less forgiving. So you have to kind of watch what you say. And I think anytime you write a bit now, you kind of wonder, is that too controversial? Well, to get a moan from the audience, that's usually what they get, a moan. Nobody usually gets up and walks away. That hasn't happened to me in a long time, but I'm sure it will again. But
who are some of the folks that you always enjoyed in the world of comedy, folks that inspired you? One of the first comics who I became friends with back in the 80s, we started at Dangerfields together, was Ray Romano. And what I loved about Ray, and I always thought this about him, even back in the 80s, was that his likability factor. And that is so important in stand-up. I mean, if you were likable and you can appeal to such a broad range of people. And I think being likable on stage, I mean, again, even Don Rickles, even though he would, everybody would, his kind of sarcasm but you would forgive him because you knew that you kind of still felt that he had a heart. Somebody like Dice Clay, I don't know, he was absurd. But I think Ray Romano was one of my first inspirations because he could work cleanly. I always liked Jim Gaffigan, but his sense of humor, it's totally up to, his brand. He has this persona and he created this character that really works for him. And again, like I said, Billy Burr is one of my favorite comedians because he's so edgy and he really puts himself out there and he makes you think. And I think that's important. I found that through the years of doing a lot of stand-up, that if you don't look at it as, trying to make so much people laugh, as trying to project love, that you care about the audience and hopefully they will in turn care about you. So it's kind of, I don't like to use the word love that much because maybe it's not really the way to describe it, but I try to project caring and love to my audience and hopefully I'll get it back. Again, the likability factor. The likability factor, exactly. And it's an important thing to have that, right? You have people that connect with you. Do you think a Don Rickles could exist today?
There are people out there that just talk to the audience. I think it would be very difficult. More forgiving because he could still do it. I saw him with 2 other comics. I saw Mel Brooks too. What we saw in New Jersey, we saw Don Rickles. He was doing stand-up. He was more doing sit-down at that time because he was like 90. And he did like 20 minutes of really his shtick. But because he was iconic, you forgave him. I think that would be very difficult to be that edgy and that degrading to people at this day of age. I personally don't think you could get away with it, but maybe there's somebody out there that has that kind of, maybe I think you'd have some other thing that compensated for that.
Like you said too, each city you go to, the sensibilities and the humor is different, right? You can go to the middle of the country, you can go to the coasts, whatever it is, and the audiences are different and their take on things is different. You know, a joke that lands in one city might not in the next, and it's a little bit of a gamble, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think a lot of comics, when they go on the road, they get there, you know, and time to ask people about some, because you can use the same joke, but use, you know, a Toledo reference or something. So you find out about the local landmarks and, you know, what's going on there. And then you try to write your bits around that, because if people familiarize um, with, uh, with that, then it's going to get more of a laugh. The same way, I think, if you're well known, I was talking to other comics about this, how much more of a laugh will you get bumped? Because if you're well known, you know, like you're funny amongst your friends, you laugh and they think, oh, Jim is hilarious, he's so funny and witty, because they're your friends. If you do that to a stranger, they might not. So somebody who's well known, they already had a familiarity with the audience, and so they're kind of like the friend role. So if
Right.
you're funny, I think you're going to get at least a 20% or more bump in how much they're going to laugh at you, and maybe even more. I've talked with other comics about this; they agree, but I'm sure some of them out there don't agree on that. But
How are you able to balance, you know, the time? Just being a dentist takes a lot of time as well. How do you balance the dentistry with the comedy?
um, it's tough. I don't do as much. In the old days, I used to, before I was married. As you know, I got married late in life, but before that, usually would do it. You'd have a Friday night gig and a Saturday night gig. So I'd have to finish my patient at like 5 o'clock. Thank God if they had an emergency, I was, you know, it wouldn't have gone well. So you finish the patient at 5 o'clock. And usually, since I had a car, because a lot of comics didn't have cars. So if you had a car, you were going to get more gigs, just for the fact that you didn't have to be funny.
Yeah.
You just had a working car, because then
Just
you
had
could
to get there.
yeah,
Yeah.
you could drive the other comics. You'd be the ride, and then hopefully you were funny too. I mean, if you weren't funny, they're not going to give you a gig. But if you're somewhat funny, you had a car, so you'd run out of your office, and let's say the gig was 8 o'clock at night, and you ran out of your office. You'd meet the other comics where your car was parked, and there was usually one or two, and you would get in the car and drive, and the stress from, let's say the gig was 8 o'clock, it's 6:30, and you're stuck in traffic in the Midtown Tunnel, and you're the whole show, the middle, the MC, and the closing act are all in the same car, and the stress every weekend was crazy. You know,
Had to be. Yeah.
but I love the outlet. I love the immediate feedback. You know, from, you know, you could say a dental joke to a 3-year-old, you know, like, what time is it in the dental office? You know, 2:30. And a 3-year-old's going to laugh, but it's not the same as, as you know, or there were so many, you know, be true to your teeth or they'll be false to you or something like that. But
How does the joke work if you have a lisp?
yes, right. Yeah, well, as a dentist, you shouldn't make fun of lisp, but
but you did.
Yeah, but I did. You know, it's like I said in my act. I said, you know, people always asking for the, you know, dumbest medical advice. Like, you know, someone said to me not too long ago, my friends complain I have really bad breath. What should I do about it? I said, well, first turn your head when you talk to me, and just give me a call. We'll talk about it on the phone. But again, yeah, so there was always that stress. And once I was in a relationship with my wife to be, it's tough. It's tough to be in a relationship. I know a lot of comics that are still single, but it's tough to have a family and to do stand-up. And you have to get to a point where I know a lot of great comics that became writers just because they were tired of doing cruises, and which
Mhm.
the money is good. They got married, they have a kid or two or three,
Yeah.
and it gets to the point where you have to make a living. You have to take care of your family, and they're all smart and
Yeah.
they're witty,
Yeah.
but they've been doing it for so long. This is all they really know.
Mm.
So in order to make money, you can't just go in your backyard, or you can't open a dental office in your basement. You have to get out there and do the road. And a lot of comics I know now are doing cruises because it's easy and the money's good. But it's a difficult. I really I respect comics so much, or anybody in the gig economy. It's a hard life, but there's a lot of great things about it.
I had always heard occasionally that sometimes they don't always stick together. There's like a lot of competition amongst comedians and that they're not always coming together. A number of them have said that recently. How do you find that?
I find it's an unspoken competition. Um, let's say on a given night you're at the comedy club, and comic does well, and you get off the stage, you go, great set, it was so much fun. But in your mind, I always use that in my act, like a happy relationship with my wife is keep it in my mind. It's the same with a lot of things. We think of things in our mind, but we're not going to say it out loud. You hope you have the best set of the night. I don't care who you are. A guy's getting great laughs, you say, oh, that's great, but you hope you have a little better set, or in your mind you want to have the best set of the night. At the end of the day, I don't do this particularly, but some comics just hang around just to see people's reaction, or give out your card, which I understand, and have them come up, oh, you're funny. I once did a gig, and this was way back in the day, in Saratoga, New York. I don't like headlining. I've headlined several times, but it's always tough to headline, because if you get a big featured act, in other words, there's MC, there's the feature, and then there's the headliner. So if you headline, you have to make sure, and a lot of bookers wouldn't do this, that the feature was conducive to your headlining. It wasn't, guitar playing crazy magician or something. You wanted, for my personality, somebody low key. So I once was headlining in Saratoga, New York. I did 40 minutes. It went okay. It wasn't terrible. It went okay.
How do you gauge it? How do you gauge what's okay?
Well, you can tell by the
Yeah.
laughters, and also the sustained laughter.
The sustained,
Yeah, if it's going, sometimes you get, like a machine gun laughter, and then the next two bits are, nobody likes that. But then sometimes it keeps going and building. That's what you want. And I've done so many thousands of shows that So at this particular night, and I'm sure other comics, and I've talked to, experienced this too. So at the end of the show's over, applause, you get your money, you're going to ride back. It's a 4-hour drive. I don't know if I stayed up there. So I'm talking to the featured actor, who was a friend of mine, and we're sitting there talking, and one of the patrons comes up and starts talking to the feature and telling him, and I'm standing right there. I'm an inch away from this person and the feature. We're like in this little tight circle, and they're talking to the feature, telling them how funny they were, and they really enjoyed their act. And they said to him, you were much funnier than the last guy that went on. And I'm the last guy standing right there, and they didn't recognize me. They usually will go to, if they thought somebody was funny, they'll turn to you and give you that little quick appraisal. Oh, I thought you were funny too. But they didn't even do that. They didn't even know I was the guy they've been watching for the last 40 minutes. And it's the stories like that you always remember and that make you laugh. But that's part of stand-up.
How do you deal with hecklers?
Hecklers, thankfully, I don't get many. I usually ignore them. Some acts attract hecklers because they're controversial or they're talking too much for the audience. I try to stay away from that. I try to go up there, maybe talk a little to the audience, do my thing, and I try not to alienate. If you're working in a good club, and if it's a heckler doesn't stop and disrupting the audience, then a good club will go in there and tell them, listen, you either keep it down or you're out of here, which they should. I mean, you're not going to get a well-known act like Bill Burr or somebody, if they were working a club like that, they're not going to let that heckler last for 2 seconds. But in some of the comedy clubs, they don't do that, which is regrettable.
Did you enjoy George Carlin?
Oh, I love George Carlin.
Yeah.
That guy, to the end, he was great. I don't see how you could not like him. He was edgy. He took chances. He was so smart. I didn't know him. I had never met him. I know other comics that liked him, and they even have a street named George Carlin Street up in New York.
How about Sebastian Maniscalco?
I like him. Now, think about Sebastian. He's extremely funny, but it's the delivery. I mean, he's talking about things that so many comics talk about, a relationship, but his animation, his gestures, it's all his personality. And again, you have that likability factor, which makes him incredible. The material, other comics who will just talk about they're not thinking of somebody, it's not unusual. No, it's not. But his delivery is remarkable, and I think he's a great comic. I mean, there's other comics who are great. And I'll just mention one, Al Lubell, who I've known for years, who's a brilliant comic. He's been on Letterman several times, been on Tonight Show several times, but a lot of people outside the industry don't know who he is because he's very edgy, he's very controversial, and he's really a brilliant comic.
Going back in time a little bit, did you like people like Phyllis Diller?
I like it. Those
bang, 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 bang,
right,
bang.
Right. Yeah, or Shecky Green.
Like Dangerfield, bang, bang.
Right.
You're trying to recover from one joke, and there's another coming at you, and you're just constantly laughing.
Well, that's what they did back then. They had all the Borscht Belt comedy, and you wanted to work the mountains.
Buddy Hackett.
That's where you made your money, with the Buddy Hacketts and Stewie.
Alan Kings and
which reminds me of a story. I don't know if I can just go aside. There was a well-known comic. There's a well-known comic. I won't mention his name. He passed away, and he was really a nice guy and a funny comic. And I'm friendly with his ex, and this is how the internet can get you in trouble. So she sent out a picture of the relationship in the past, of them together at a happier moment, and they looked beautiful together. And I wrote just one comic, lovely. Remember, the husband, I think he either passed away or wasn't doing very well, and it was nearly the end. And the comment I wrote was just lovely. So I didn't check it or anything, but I get a note the next day, and there's a thing that said, and she wrote me and said, lonely with a question mark. I wrote her lonely. So she thought I was maybe hitting on her or something like that, because he was no longer with us. And, well,
you didn't have the glasses on before you hit send, right?
I went too quick. I'm sure there's worse things. Someone should write a book about all the,
It's never good when you go too quick.
No, you have in most things in life.
I'm setting it up for you.
Yeah, you said I have to be clean.
Well, you could be still,
Yeah. Well, I tell when you get older, it's quick is becomes more acceptable the older you get. Sometimes it's too quick. Honey, we only have 4 minutes. That's 3 more minutes than I need.
That's about the same time it takes to make toast, isn't it?
Right. In fact, that's how we time it. We put in something in the toaster, and whatever comes out.
Ding.
Yeah.
Does it ever get burnt? Or
yes. I thought we had to be clean, Jim. Yeah.
Burnt? I mean, hey, you already said
innuendos are good.
You already said condominium, so
right,
I mean,
yeah.
So yeah, we need a laugh. I've always said that levity is paramount. There's a couple of things that are universal languages. Humor is one, music is another, nature, but now more than ever, we need to laugh because everybody's uptight, everybody's frustrated, everybody's angry. We talk about that. Everybody is nervous and fearful and all this stuff that's going on. We need to be able to laugh and also at ourselves, right?
If you can't laugh at yourselves, you're in trouble. I think
Yeah.
that's a great quality to have. I think people who can laugh at themselves are probably some of the most healthy people on the planet. And we laugh at ourselves all the time. My wife, especially. My wife is the funniest person I know, and she doesn't mean to be. She's French, so she gets confused all the time. She'll say something like, uh, "You have goosebumps." She'll call them goose pimples. But the little things in life, we were once sitting around the dinner table, and since English is not her mother tongue, she gets confused. So we do these games around the dinner table with my daughter and my wife. And one of the games, we're trying to think of the names of the seven dwarfs. So probably the people think that. So, we got to, whatever, Sleepy and
Sleepy,
Doc
yeah,
and
happy,
Doc
and
and all that. Yeah. So anyway, we're going through them. And again, it's not her culture. She knows very little about them. And we're trying to give her a hint. We named all of them. There was a few left. So I said, I gave her a hint. It starts with an H. And without moment's hesitation, not trying to be funny or anything, she said, "Horny." That's you have to
it's
laugh.
kind of like the lonely thing.
Right. Right. Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
thread here somewhere.
Right. I don't know, but she calls like I said, goosebumps, goose pimples. We once handicap parking is paralyzed parking. She thought that what it meant, and she's funny. She always gets me going, and she laughs at herself. If she does something funny, she laughs so hard at herself that she cries, and it makes me cry. And we're just sitting around,
Yeah, yeah,
and to get to that point where you're laughing so hard, crying, you forget all your troubles.
yeah,
It's such a release.
yes,
There's nothing
yeah.
like that. And in a relationship, if you whoever you're with, whoever your partner is, you got to laugh a lot.
You've got to laugh. So if people went to see you doing your routine, what would be a few things they might hear?
They might hear, well, they'll hear, um, me talking about my
You'd say
wife.
your name first.
When I get out the audience, I say, "How you doing?" I don't really care, because comics will always come up with, "How are you? It's nice
How you
seeing you."
doing? I don't care. Are you
Yeah.
doing Fran Lebowitz?
Right. I heard that about her. Speaking of Fran Lebowitz, I don't know if any of your audience don't know who she is. You might want to explain.
I don't know what it is, but in the last week, I have been watching everything about her,
Really?
interviews, past and present. I find her interesting and fascinating. I think just on YouTube or something, for some reason, I had watched something and then she came up as a suggestion. And of course, I always thought the only thing that existed on YouTube was the Jim Masters Show live
Right.
series,
Right.
right, folks? But it came up as a suggestion and watched it and had forgotten about some of her commentary. And now I'm just watching all this stuff and just really interested in what she's saying, or at least how she says it, with her just no nonsense way of speaking and thinking. She says some things that I don't even know I could actually say or get away with saying, or just an interesting, deep look at life from somebody who's just, hey, take it or leave it. That's what it is. Next.
Yeah. Well, she's kind of has that pundit about her that, she got to that stage. Well, people think she has something to stay, and will listen. I don't know. Um, I think she's considered an intellectual, and maybe philosophical in a lot of ways. I don't know her. I've never met her. A friend of mine met her at the party once, and um, he went over to talk to her, but he was a dentist, so I guess she didn't want to hear about teeth. and and she kind of, I guess she said hi, and that was the end of the conversation. Like, hi, I'm a dentist specializing in whatever. I'm an oral
Come see
surgeon.
me, you get a free
Yeah,
cleaning.
yeah, but he could have lied, or said, something else. But
With inflation the way it is, offering free cleanings can get a
right,
dentist a lot of dates these days.
a lot of dates, and throw in the X-rays. Forget it. You're gonna have something to do every night.
I want to know what you're doing down below. Are you playing a video game or are you baking
No,
bread?
I'm looking at my
You're,
book.
you're looking at it?
No, it was sitting over here.
It's cool because you never know what's like below us
There's nothing.
because
I have
you might
what?
have pajamas on or
No,
something. Yeah.
I'm in my office.
Yes.
I was
Let's
I
do
was
a little.
cleaning my own teeth, and
You. Let's do a CBS News Edward R. Murrow scenario, which sometimes we do with our guests. You have
okay,
such a wall of fame behind you. So I'm
right.
Edward R. Murrow. This is CBS News. And we're coming now to the home of Mike King in Midtown Manhattan in New York City. Mike, it's so good to see you here on the Jim Master Show Live. Tell us about what we see on the wall of fame.
Well, on the wall of shtick. Here's
The wall of shtick.
I mean, there's some. You want me to remove this and we'll walk over? I don't know.
Take us on a walk. Yeah. Yeah.
Here. I'm going to take you on a little.
You don't have any underwear on the floor or
excursion.
anything we don't need to see, right? If so,
a lot of this stuff,
don't pan
my
down.
daughter did. Just I don't know. What do we have over here? There's my daughter. There's me with a friend who was Halle Berry's manager at the time. Let's see. We go over here. Look at these pictures. I'm wearing the same shirt 45 years later.
You're frozen. All we see is the top of your forehead.
Can you see? I know. Can you see that?
Oh,
yeah, right there.
You're sort of frozen. So all we see is like the very top of the glasses.
Really?
And we see the forehead.
How about now? Can you see now?
You have a smooth forehead. Do you use moisturizer?
Yes, I do. Can you see anything here?
No, you haven't. You're still frozen.
Really? How do I unfreeze?
How do you unfreeze?
Can you see me now?
Turn on the heat.
You can see me now?
Oh, we see the top of your head. You're like
Really?
a mist. You're like, see, folks, we planned this. This is part of the comedy.
Right.
Remember I said in the promo, he's going to make you laugh, especially, in this case.
Because I could see I look regular.
He's doing his whole interview this way, where you just see the top of the glasses. You don't even
How
see.
about now? I look normal on the screen. Yeah, let me try this. There I go. It doesn't change anything?
Let's see.
Can you see me now?
We see you, but you're frozen. You're frozen. It's just the top of the glass. You look like a mystery guest, and we're trying to.
Should I stop?
Suddenly, you became shy, huh?
Should I? There's nothing.
Are you asking me if you want to pull out and come back in?
Right.
You're there now.
I'm there now.
Can
you see me now? We want me to duck down. Can you see me now?
I'm actually friends with the guy who used to do the commercials. Can you hear me now for Verizon?
Can you see that?
So we see you, but you're frozen, touching your face.
Really? What's going on here?
Whatever it is, it's hilarious. Everybody's laughing and they're enjoying this.
Well, I look good from where I'm sitting.
As soon as you got up to move, something sort of went a little awry.
I just disconnected the. Hold on, let me try something else. Hold on.
The awry went sourdough.
Let me try this. Hold on, this is.
Oh, here's like, yeah, this is interesting. It sounds like a cat trying to scratch into a room or something.
Hold on.
Am I the only one that hear this? Hey, viewers, posting comments. Are you hearing and seeing what we're seeing? He's frozen, and we hear clicking.
Let me try now. Is it doing anything now?
No. Let me take you out of the screen, and I'll bring you back in. Take him out. Bring them back. See, now your screen is black, so you're not even there. So it might be,
Really?
you may have to come out and come back in. Maybe something. Now you're definitely a mystery guest. You're
All
very
right.
shy. He's a shy stand-up comedian.
All right. Let me try this. Now the
Oh,
show's going to be 3 hours. I'm just trying to think. Let me try stop and then come back in.
there's that little, yeah. So maybe just come back out of the link and go back in the link.
We don't want me to quit entirely.
Well, if you come out of the link and you come back in, like you take yourself out and take yourself back in or bring yourself back in, you should be able to.
All right.
Hopefully it'll correct itself. Right now you're still frozen.
Should I go to my settings and
Yeah, the viewers are saying you're frozen too. Yeah. So take yourself maybe out of the studio and then
okay.
come back in.
All right.
Maybe that'll do it.
All right. Let me try. Hold on.
Yeah, and like take yourself completely out. Right now we still hear you.
All right. I'll be back.
He'll be back. Oh, there we go. So we're talking. This is funny. I love when things happen where you got to sort of reposition. Soon as he started giving us a tour of his home studio there, it just went awry. But hey, everybody, how you doing? This is Jim Masters here. If you're liking this episode, give us a like, comment, subscribe. He's going to be back, and
Are we good?
that was the magic. Yes, just got
Technical different. Well, let me say about the pictures back there.
Yes.
There's right here, this one right over here. Let me see back here. That's me. There's Ray Romano. Some, just people I've known through the. I can do this without disconnecting, but way back there. That over there in that corner. Can you see those? That's from the.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing. It started out as a 2-person play called Sid's Treasure. We did it in Denver. We had a sold out show, and then about 5 years ago, it was about being a dentist, a stand-up comedian, the son of a nightclub owner, the Sultan of Striptease. So it's about incorporating the three of those things in my life. And then I'd say, just before the pandemic, we started making it as a musical, and it's really all the music is done. We're working on the script. We did it at Studio 54. Got a great response. It's called The Lap Dance Kid.
So you did it at 54 Below?
Yeah, 54 Below.
Yeah.
And then we're doing it again in April, and then we're doing 2 shows in December. It gets expensive. It's a big production, but it's about a kid who is 12 years old before his bar mitzvah, where the family business is a strip joint. And his father before that had a tavern, and at about 12 years old, his father decides he wants something more and turns that tavern into a burlesque house. And essentially it's about a kid trying to deal with all these changes in his life and the reaction that people have towards him doing such a controversial business and how it relates to his son and growing up.
How much of this is you, and how much of the story is your father?
I think it's based. It's probably 90% true. Dealing with all that stuff, but it's about the bar mitzvah, or as his friends called it, the bar titzvah.
Yeah.
Before before it actually, So there was a lot to deal with, and the music is essentially about growing up in that. And coming of age as a 13-year-old
in that environment,
in puberty, dealing with puberty and dealing with that environment. And again, my mom worked there, and it was indeed a family business, and it was a double-edged, maybe a triple-edged sword.
Yeah. This was all in Denver.
All in Denver. It was called Sid King's Crazy Horse Bar, and if you look it up, you can still find. In fact, the place was so well known, they have the sign in the Colorado Museum.
Oh, do they really?
Yes, you can see the Sid King sign.
Wow, that's incredible. And then there's this. Dad spelled backward.
Yes.
Tell us about this. What's the inspiration for this? And share this with us. Congratulations on it too, Mike.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, and thanks for bringing that up. Dad spelled backwards. Most people will tell you when you start writing to write what you know. And I thought it was important to learn about it's a love story, even though adoption is a large part of it. It's a love story about a relationship with my wife and how we decided to start our family. And the inspiration was that once we started that, I felt that it was very important for people to listen to this story to find out how important it is to have a child in your life. And I don't care if you have to, it's not so much about adoption or whatever, or even if you have a cousin or a friend or the best friend, form a relationship with that child because it only will enhance your life. And I decided that was what I wanted to say to people. And again, it's about how my wife and I, who's the love of my life, got together, and after a few years of marriage, decided that it wasn't working. We weren't able to have a reason to have our own child. She didn't want to do certain things. She didn't want to do, certain procedures. She wanted to give someone a home who maybe didn't have a chance. And so that's what we did. And it's about our journey.
It's a beautiful thing that you did.
Well, it was a crazy journey, and the ups and downs, and just about life and what you will do to achieve certain things. Sometimes you just do almost anything if the purpose is important enough, and the purpose is love and to find a family and to make your wife happy. That is the purpose. The result, of course, was wanting to have a child, but the purpose is a stronger thing. And if that purpose is lofty enough, you're going to do anything to achieve that, or try anything, as long as it takes.
So how long ago did you do this?
Our daughter is 13 now, going on 26. And I don't know if you have any teenagers in your life, or it's I'm hoping my hearing goes quicker than it has been, because being an older dad,
Yeah.
I can still hear, so it's not so good. But it started. I didn't get married to my 50s, and so once we started trying for a child. My wife was just about 39, I think, or almost 40. We started before we tried. We weren't using any means not to have a child. So essentially, we started before we got married a year or so. But once we got married, we figured it would happen, and most couples do that. And when it doesn't, then you have to make a decision. I was fine with having things the way they were. Again, if you never had a child, you might not know so much what you're missing. But
How
once
has
you
your
have,
life changed? What is the
oh,
joy that you experience?
the depth of the relationship, and the connection that you have with your child, and enhances. If it's a good relationship, it's going to make it better. It's not going to save a bad relationship,
Right.
but with a good relationship, it will definitely make it better. And the connection between you and your wife and your child, and the three of you together, is so strong. And that's a beauty of it. You can't describe to anyone the feeling of what it is to have a child, or a child in your life. I mean, even if you're, like I said before, even if you're have a niece or a nephew, get as strong a connection as you can, because there's nothing like it. It'll only enhance your life. And I think we forget, with all the crazy stuff going on in life, it's all about the kids. We're here, we're doing all our junk and stupid things, but we have to make this a better place for the kids, and to have the love for the child. And if we're not thinking about the kids and thinking about our own selfish egos, we're in trouble.
Did you have any thought initially or resistance about being so open and real and sharing that, letting the world into your life in such a personal way and sharing it in the book? Or was it something you knew you had to do?
Well, when I first wrote it, I thought it's going to be difficult. My wife hasn't even read the whole thing yet. It's too personal for her and too close to her. I changed a lot of the names because there's a lot of emotion involved and a lot of people, who I called one person a Nazi because they deserved it. And they had a little swastika tattoo, so I probably wasn't a stretch for me. But there was a reluctancy because it is, you're putting yourself on, people are knowing all about you and about what you went through and these very personal moments and trying to get pregnant. I didn't leave anything out. Thankfully, again, my sense of humor came about. Even the first line of the book is, "Can you die from having too much sex?" And that's what part of it was, trying to get pregnant, because that's what you do. And back to the question, yeah, there was a lot of reluctance. And thankfully, I had some notes. I started writing this 2 years after we had our child, and it took several years to finish it with different. I wrote it all myself. I had people help me with the edit, but it's all me. And it took a lot of time. And then finally, when it was done, and then people were giving me this feedback that say, you have to get the story out there. I did. And we're getting great, amazing reviews. I don't know where it's going to go, but I think it's an important book for people to feel. If they want to feel love and they want to feel connection, this book will help.
Did you ever think you would be a published author in this way? Congratulations on it.
Well, I did 2 previous books, which were children's dental books. The last one was Enamel the Camel.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. A children's book is 1,000 words. It still takes you 2 years.
Yes,
you have
right.
to get all the illustrations. Right. It's forever. You have to do it professional. So it's something. I always think, if you can't be proud of something, then don't do it.
Correct.
Don't do it just. So again, it's the same thing. If the purpose of the children's book is to get kids to brush and to take care of their teeth, the result is hopefully. But one book is doing really well. That's Enamel the Camel. And I always tell people in the business, if any kind of profession, you write a book. It's much better than giving out a card. But it has to be a good book. It has to be something, not an ego thing, but something where you really want to affect people's lives. Again, the concept of giving love. Hopefully, you'll get it back, and people say, "This is a lovely book. He put his time in. He put his heart into this." It's important for me to read.
You see another book coming too?
We have 2 more coming. We have one coming out in the spring. Tentatively, it's called Schmutzmouth. We haven't got yet. Schmutz is one of those Yiddish words that everybody knows, like the other S word. I guess I'm not supposed to say that either on this, unless you want to say it, Jim. I don't know if you know that.
Does it rhyme with luck?
Yes, it does. And it rhymes with other words too, what we can't say. But
Tuck.
Yeah, Chuck.
Pluck.
Yeah. And so why don't we just do a show where you just do words that rhyme with other dirty words?
Sounds like.
Yeah. That would be the
charades.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it started off about a brushing book, but it became a lot more. It's about, there's a concept in Jewish which applies to everybody called being a mensch. And being a mensch is essentially doing the right thing. In other words, it started out with brushing your teeth is the right thing to do for your health.
Yeah.
And it's the right thing because people love you and they want to see you healthy. So you should brush your teeth. But at the same time, you should be kind to others and not be mean to them, because it's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do.
It talks about kindness, respect, it was tied in with brushing your teeth, but now it became a much bigger book that is important. And there's this town called Schmuttsville, and it's a funny book, but it's an important message in terms of for a child to know that the right way to do things rather than the easy way or the way that's going to hurt other people's feelings.
You know who first called me a mensch?
Who?
The very first, I've been called it several times, but the very first person, Craig Allen from WCBS Channel 2, WCBS News Radio,
Okay.
were friends. And he said that. He said, Jim, you're a real mensch. I like the word. I like what it means and what it stands for. Yeah.
It should apply to all of us. And,
right.
And
how about curmudgeon?
Curmudgeon? Yes. We do a book on curmudgeonness. Yeah, there are a lot of curmudgeons out there. But I think, and back to that, and there's another book coming out. We're just finishing that one up. It's called, we just have a working title called Nate Nash. What it's about is, and again, some of these books have dental themes. This one is about a boy who do an experiment he's trying to do it in a social science class, an experiment that he does something to change others' opinions, and how he can do one thing and change the other way people look at life. So he tries to not brush his teeth, and it becomes a huge thing because every kid wants in on it, and it becomes national, international. It's a fun book. That one's almost finished.
That's fantastic. So you're really enjoying this, huh?
And listen, if I don't do it, nobody cares. If I don't go out and write a joke, or you don't do Jim Master show, people will care, but to a degree, and then they're going to forget about it. So you have to put yourself in a position. In other words, to me, all boils down to uncertainty. I think the quality of your life, as Tony Robbins would say, would be in proportion to the amount of uncertainty you can handle comfortably. So if you set goals for yourself and you're uncertain about the outcome, you're going to feel, and you achieve something, you're going to be in that space between certainty and uncertainty. And that's where you get the most satisfaction, because once you achieve that goal, and the greater the gap, the more satisfaction you're going to have. I was talking to a comic about this the other night, that if this is where most people are, they're just playing it safe. But if you get that uncertainty and you get up here and you try something that's different and something that you haven't done, something that's going to make you better as a person, and you get into that gap and you get to that point where, hey, look what I did. And then you come down to normal. That's where you get their satisfaction.
And that's happened for you?
It happens
all the time.
It happens, just from the littlest thing, from doing a new joke on stage. If you do the same act all the time, you're not going to have that. But if you try a new joke, you get new guests on, you learn from something, you learn from them that they're doing something that enhances you as a person, and something you can learn, and something your audience can learn. And you didn't have to do that show, but you didn't have to but you got that guest. You put yourself, because you're uncertain. You don't know how I was going to react, or if I was going to be a boring guest or a good guest. You're taking a chance. And when you put something on, and once you get to that point, you're going, hey, that really worked well.
Oh my God, the demands that Mike had before we even started live was extraordinary.
I know.
Are you enjoying the champagne and the truffles that we shipped to the office?
I am. And I have this glass right here. I show you, but we get disconnected.
He would only do the show if I showed him my dental records first.
Right. Yeah,
and he wanted to see if I was using Crest or not.
Yeah, or no mercury fillings. You can't do a host with mercury fillings in your mouth.
No, we had all of those replaced a long time ago.
Wow.
That's what they used to do years ago, is the mercury. I remember out on Long Island, I remember the dentist at the checkout area, they had a bowl of lollipops. Really? I guess that's a good way to get repeat business.
That's what I talk in my act. I said, the fifth dentist, eat the gummy bears.
Yes, right.
We got cotton candy in the waiting room. Enjoy. See you soon.
How do you work your dentistry into your humor and into your act?
Well, I talk about being the fifth dentist. The 4 out of 5. I'm the one that said to eat the gummy bears, eat all that stuff. it's easy. It's because people, ask the dumbest questions sometimes when they come to, like, so people always say, "Are these X-rays safe?" That's one that I would talk about. Yeah, yeah, they're safe. That's why I put a lead apron on you and run behind this concrete bunker. Look around you, bozo. No one else is in the room. Just you and those safe X-rays. And as we talked before, when I first opened my office, I don't know if I should say this. Maybe I should. I will anyway. When we first opened it's expensive. Thankfully, my dad, Sid, the strip joint, helped pay for my dental school. Nowadays, it could cost you 80, 90,000 at NYU to go to dental school, and then you come out, and then you have $400,000 in debt, and then you have to open a dental office. It's absurd. It costs a fortune. So I was saying, when I got out of dental school, I had no money. So I had to share a waiting room with a gynecologist. And once by mistake, they put the gynecology patient in my dental chair. And I knew something wasn't right when I asked her what the problem was. She says, "Doctor, it burns when I urinate." Well, maybe you're brushing too hard. Softer bristles. But again, you find humor. Listen, a comic can find humor anywhere. And the more, sometimes the more critical the situation is, the more humor they find, because it's a release. It's a release from all the things we're going through every day, all the problems, and oh my God, and the internet.
I'm just thinking about when the gynecologist was in that chair of yours.
Right.
She must have had a huge cavity.
Right. Yeah. Tops and bottoms, Jim. That's what it was called.
Sounds like an ice cream.
Are they going to allow you to air
this? We're live.
Okay.
This thing is live. It sounds like an ice cream cone.
Right. Right.
That is funny.
I think you should do an X-rated show sometimes. Just let it out. Get everything censored.
Beep, 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 beep.
Just the last day you have this show. And 10 years from now,
with all the beeps, people will think they're stuck in city traffic.
Right. Yeah.
What makes you laugh? How do you're the guy making people laugh. You're the guy, and the two things, I want to slip this in because I think it's important. The two things that you're doing, the correlation between the two, are very blended. You're a dentist that provides a service that takes care of people in a time of need, helps them heal, helps relieve pain, helps them feel better. And the same thing with humor, helps them heal, helps them feel better, helps them, not think about painful things. So they are very kindred spirits, those two things that you do. And I think they play off each other.
Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah. Again, laughter is healing, and working on kids' teeth.
I was expecting a far deeper response than that. Yeah, you're right, Jim.
Right. No, you're right. No, it's a good point. I mean, they're more relatable than not. I mean, if you're relaxed, and I think humor in the dental practice, I heard this from other people. Go to the dentist, they say, "Oh my God, the dentist, one joke after another joke. I couldn't stand it." Can you still hear me, Jim?
We hear you, yeah.
Now you got me paranoid from the last.
That you're going to be frozen?
Yeah.
Well, Maureen says it's all good. Let the humor rip. Let it rip.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think, it's just, yeah, well, all right.
You're still laughing, and I thought it was funny when you said Props Anonymous.
Right.
It's a interesting, funny name for a place. I like it. Props
Well,
Anonymous.
I would drag around this suitcase and have to get a stool and put it on the stage, and I have to whip these out. But it got to a point where let's say you were doing 30, 40 minutes, and you only did 5 minutes of props. And so you drag this suitcase wherever you were going, and it got to a point where I didn't need it.
Maureen said this conversation has suddenly taken a hilarious turn. Wait a minute, we weren't earlier?
Right. Well, maybe we should be more X-rated.
What do you got to say to make them laugh, Mr. King?
Oh, I got so much to say. I mean, you shouldn't make someone laugh. You should help them um, find humor in their own life. Just remember, everything is the more serious. I mean, how many times you've been the funeral, the worst thing you can do. And sometimes if it's an elderly person, um,
Especially if you're the star of the funeral.
right, right.
That's the worst.
But people are, a guy could be 98 and pass away. It's sad, but I always thought it would be great if you could in my or someone's casket, you could put a recording. You know how you can push it, and when they start throwing dirt, you hear coughing. I don't know, just something I thought of. Right, the dust flying. Wait a second.
I'm not ready yet.
Yeah, right. What's that? You hear something? But it's everything, it's even we don't even like to say the word death.
No.
We
Nobody.
don't. We say things like he passed away.
Passed away.
Or my favorite is we lost him.
We lost him.
Yeah, this guy I know said I
Well,
lost my father. I'm thinking I know where he is. I think I do. Remember 2 weeks ago, there was a line of cars. You went to a park,
when
little hole in the ground.
He's no longer with us.
Right. Yeah. Or RIP, or the one I heard recently. When a comics pass away, and all the other comics are making RIP, rest in peace. Obviously, they're not resting because you can't wake them. But the one I liked lately was someone wrote, "See you on the other side, buddy." I'm going like, listen, Jim. There's 7 billion people, 8 billion people on this side. What are the chances?
And what if that person that's on the other side is not in heaven?
Right.
Do you really want to
how
join
do you
them?
contact him? If there's 8 million, there's got to be 100 billion people on the 8 billion on 100 billion on those. How are you going to get a hold of them? What are you going to put an ad? I don't know.
So are you still performing regularly? Is
Yes,
it something where people can see you? And
2 weeks ago, I was at the Sag Harbor Playhouse, which
Long
was a great
Island,
gig. Yeah, that was a great gig. I'll be December 13th and 14th at Broadway Comedy Club. The 13th, I'm on 3 shows. I think it was a 7 o'clock, a 9 o'clock, and 11 o'clock show. And then the 14th, which is a Thursday, I'm on the 7 o'clock show.
do you travel to other areas too? Have you over the
No.
years gone like to Chicago, other places?
I did.
Can't
I
'cause of the
did to
practice,
Chicago.
right?
I've been a lot of places, but the money, Jim, unless you're like a major dental conventions and stuff like that, they'll pay well. But most of your comedy clubs, right now, it's all about internet, TikTok,
Yeah.
Instagram. If you have 1 million followers, they're going to put you up in a lot of places. So, and the local clubs, the money hasn't changed in years. They're paying the same $200 you got 25 years ago to do it.
Right.
And I just don't feel like going back to. I'll do an extra filling.
So you don't have to fill the seats.
Yeah.
Just
Even
fill
if they
the
don't
tooth.
need it. Listen,
I'm filling the seats and filling tooth.
Right. Yes.
Teeth.
Yes.
Have you played Denver, your old hometown?
I did. We did the play in Denver before it became a musical, and it was great. I mean, I've got standing ovations before, or maybe it was just a lot of people going to the bathroom at the same time. I don't remember which one, but it was one of those. But I got. We did it in Denver, and there was like a 3-minute standing ovation. Mainly because a lot of people knew my dad, and so there was a nostalgic. But it was really a heartwarming story about, and that's what again the Lap Dance Kid is about. Not that I'm plugging it, but I am because it's a great story. It's about finding love in who you are, and even if what you're doing doesn't make other people happy, if you love what you're doing and you find love in what you're doing, then just do it.
That's
Be
key.
happy.
Yeah, that's essential. Absolutely. We talk about
And
that
so
all the time.
my dad, he had the strip coin. Nobody was harmed. He was very respectful. If there can be a respectable owner of that kind of place, he was. And to him, you didn't have to be svelte looking, or anybody could be a dancer. Anybody.
Yeah.
Didn't matter. Didn't matter what you looked like, what your weight was, if you wore glasses or didn't. It didn't matter.
welcoming to all.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
The book, Amazon and places where books are sold. What about as far as like learning about your tour and the comedy? Is there a website to go to?
Well, you can go to thefifth-dentist.com, spelled out THEFIF, like 4 or 5 dentists, or Mike King Writes,
WRITES.
yes, MikeKingWrites.com.
Cool.
You can just call me if I'm
That's
not,
it.
if I,
At 1-900,
right.
and it's only $1.99 per minute.
1-900 toothache.
Yeah, $1.99 per minute.
Right. You can call. You can. I'm there. We're in Manhattan. Pediatric Dental Associates.
1-800-toothache.
Right. Somebody should have that. How many? I don't even know how many letters that is. Probably too many.
My father had an aunt Florence, and they used to call her Flossie.
Flossie.
Yeah, Flossie, Flossie.
The Flow. Yeah, that's
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Why do you love doing this? And how? And obviously you've mastered the dentistry and also the comedy. Why do you love doing all this? Because it is bringing you, you bring joy to others. It's returning
that's
to you, right?
That's it. It's bringing joy to others, and I'm. Some people are takers and givers. I think I'm more of a giver. I know a lot of takers in life. I think if you're a giver, whatever it is, I'd rather give gifts than receive. Some people aren't that way, but I think it's all tied to that.
Some people, it's difficult to receive too. If they are a giver, like I prefer being the giver than the receiver too, just naturally. Is it easy for you to receive, or do you have?
No, it's for me to receive gifts. I mean, what do you? My wife, what do you need? I don't need anything. I have you and my, our daughter,
and you're happy, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, what again? I'd rather go buy the girls at the office bought me a shirt that was several $100s. I don't even like wearing it because you get a spot on it. You need shirt insurance just to remove that spot. I mean, how do you do that? Or
right.
What do I need a $600 shirt for?
And a bottle of Shout to get the stains out.
Or you need a thing on there. I paid $600 for this shirt, and people are going to think you're nuts.
Well, you know who had longevity, and that's the key. If you have longevity and you love what you're doing, somebody that really did his own thing and did it his way, fabulous comedian and actor, Mr. George Burns.
Yeah, George Burns, yes. Oh, he lived to 100.
He sure did, yes. And he popped in, every once in a while, depending on the theme and the show, pops in with his cigar. And this was my aunt collected real serious dolls, and this got passed down to me through my cousin Barbara. And he's the real thing. And he wanted to pop in, and he almost looks like you in like 30, 40 years from now.
Yeah. No,
you're seeing your future.
Glasses, they're in now.
Yes, right. The thing is, do you smoke cigars?
No, but look at that character. Like he probably ate crap, and look at 100.
I tell you, see,
and he was short. I think that helps because the blood has less way to go.
Well, he said you knocked it out of the park, kiddo. So he sends his kind regards from Gracie.
Thank you, George.
Yeah, popped in. The viewers love when we have him pop in every once in a while. George Burns in the house. You can go down there. He goes down below and he has his martini and he hangs out.
I won't catch that line either.
Yeah.
Just be careful,
that's exactly it. This was awesome, Mike. We did almost an hour and a half.
Wow.
Free flowing, not no scripts. It's just all conversational. Conversational, like Dick Cavett, Carson, the originals with a modern vibe, modern twisted today. That's how we do it, conversational. And a lot of comments coming in from our viewers, everybody enjoying it, loving it. And we thank everybody for their love and support. Congrats on adopting a child. We appreciate that as well. And lots of smiles from some of the humor that we shared as well from everybody.
And remember, the book, all proceeds to charity.
That's a big thing to mention. Say that again. Yes.
All proceeds are going to an agency. There's a couple for people who want to adopt a lot of foster children. but can't afford the expense, but are available to give a great home to someone in need.
What a beautiful thing, Mike. What a really beautiful thing. Giving back, huh?
I'm not making any money off these, just to be sure.
That's a beautiful thing, folks. We're speaking to revered dentist, stand-up comedian, and author. And this is Dead spelled backward. It's real. I love the cover. Who designed the cover?
I don't know who they got, but I think the guy does stuff for the New Yorker.
It has that feel. That's what when I saw the
he was
cover, I
great. He
said
was good,
it has that feel.
yeah,
Yeah,
it is great design.
exactly. Yes. Yeah. This segment sponsored by Effordent
Right.
or Polydent. Or
Polydent. Effordent. I don't know. That's a new product.
is that like a mold you would use at the practice?
Just to show kids how to brush their teeth. We're doing a toothbrush in there.
It looks like one of those things that would go, clack,
No,
clack,
yeah,
clack, clack,
a
clack,
bigger
clack,
version, right? Yeah.
of the clack, clack, clack.
Yeah.
It is a great promo. It's a great promo spot.
Yeah,
I
I like that. Yeah.
photo. This was awesome. Spread the word about the Jim Masters Show Live. We're going to keep the porch light on for you, Mike. You are welcome back anytime. Congratulations on all, and love the empowering message that you have along with the comedy. You're doing the right thing. You're made some wonderful contributions to society in your life, and I think it's paying back in dividends and ways that are hard to even describe. And I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So congratulations on all, and I hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I absolutely have with you,
Jim,
Mr.
I
King.
had a great time, and thank you for such kind words. I really appreciate it.
The pleasure is all mine. And thanks, Mike, for being here and sharing your wonderful story. You're a Lovity. You're a Jim Masters Show Lovity now.
I'll take that title. I'll take that.
That's it. You, sir, are a wonderful human. So many children will benefit from your generosity. And thanks for being here, Mike. Really fun show. Good luck with all you do.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Mike, you're a hoot. Thanks so much for gracing us with your presence this evening. Please come back again soon. Absolutely. From some of our faithful. This was awesome, Mike. Thanks for everything. Spread the word again about our series. Come back, see us again, binge watch some of the episodes. And if you know other folks you think would like to pop on, they're welcome to join us as well. And thanks for all the time, the wit and wisdom. We appreciate it, sir.
Oh, thank you, Jim. Again, I appreciate it. Thank you.
So tomorrow I'm going to say, who'd you speak to? Last night we had a king on the show. I spoke to a king.
The king of teeth.
The king of teeth. You be well, my friend. Thanks for being on the show.
Take care, Jim. Bye-bye.
All right. Cheers now. All right. How cool was that, huh? Mike King here, dentist by day, stand-up comedian by night, and also an author extraordinaire. Third book. The other two were designed for kids. Dad spelled backwards. Get it at Amazon, where books are sold as well. And check him out. He's doing some touring as well within the New York area. He's got some dates and gigs coming up, which is great. It was really fantastic having him here on the show, wasn't it? Lots of laughs, great observations about life. Mike King, our special guest, conversation here on the Jim Masters Show Live, entertainment, lifestyle, celebrity talk show series. Guys and gals, everybody watching, if you enjoyed the episode, you know what to do. Give us a thumbs up, like. We would love that. There's a thumbs up on the channel, YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Click like, share this on your social media. Leave a comment, interact with us. Let us know what you enjoyed about this episode and all the episodes. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We would love that as well. We appreciate you being with us. We appreciate all the great comments. One more time, there's the book. Get yours before they sell out. And I want to let you know just real quick, we've got amazing guests that are joining us this week. You know who's joining us? Linda Gray, iconic actress. Linda Gray, you know, of course, she starred on Dallas. Yes, with JR, with Larry Hagman and the entire gang. The one and only iconic actress Linda Gray is going to be with us live this Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Yeah, very exciting announcement. We haven't even publicly announced this yet. This just happened. Linda Gray, she's starring in a fabulous new Lifetime movie for Christmas. And we're going to talk about the new Christmas movie she's in. Linda Gray, iconic actress, star of Dallas, the CBS series. She's going to be with us. And also coming up on Friday, the iconic fiddler, award-winning Grammy and Emmy-nominated Celtic violinist composer Renee Nesbitt from Celtic Woman, making her third appearance on the Jim Masters Show Live. She and I are dear friends. I interviewed her many times on PBS. We're going to be on stage at Carnegie Hall in December for a fabulous big Christmas concert with our friend Tim Janis and friends. And also from Celtic Thunder, Emmett Cahill's going to be with us next Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, world-acclaimed Irish tenor, and so much more. Tomorrow from Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, and The Flash, and Doctor Who. You know who's going to be with us? Chase Masterson is going to be with us. Yeah, we're excited about that. I know a lot of people have been buzzing about that as well. And this is cool. A couple of comments coming in. We'll wrap things up. Great show. Thank you, Jim. Thank you as well. And Maureen says, I thought this conversation would be humorous, but I had no idea how much I would laugh out loud. And you laughed so hard you scared your cat? That is funny. Wonderful lineup of guests ahead. Absolutely. All for you guys and gals watching the Jim Masters Show Live. One more time, we thank Mike for being with us, and we thank you for being with us as well. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. This is your friend and host, Jim Masters, inviting you to come see us again on the Jim Masters Show Live. Don't forget, we have over 1,020 episodes that you can binge watch on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. All your favorites from television and film and stage and sports, comedy, food are all in the archives on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. So binge away and enjoy. From Lovely Hall, Jim Masters saying thanks for being with us, and thanks for your time this time. Till next time, we'll see you on the next episode. I'll be waiting for you right here in Lovely Hall on the Jim Masters Show. Thanks for being with us, gang. We love you all. Take care. Cheers.